Hey there, it's Christy, otherwise known as Carmen Lee, and I am back with my how I got my book deal story, I guess you could say. If you follow me on social media, you probably have kind of seen the evolution of how this happened. It happened all really quickly last year in 2022. And if you watch my previous video about how I got my literary agent, there will be some overlap. I think I briefly touched on the fact that things kind of happened at the same time. So yeah, let's just dive right in. So I got a 3-book deal, not from cold querying and going on submission, but I actually participated in 2 Twitter pitch events, DivPit and Pit Black. I believe that the editor who I'm now working with, believe they liked my DivPit pitch. Yes, they did. They liked my DivPit pitch that came at the beginning of August, and it was at the same time that my now agent also liked my Twitter pitch. So all of that happened at the beginning of August. So with that pitch event, there were mostly agents, I believe, that participated, but there were also some editors who were going through and either liking or I believe like commenting or retweeting pitches that they liked. And so the editor that I'm now working with, she actually liked my pitch. And what's great is that you will usually have a Twitter post where they tell you, if I like your pitch, this is what you need to do. Or some of the other editors who liked my pitch, or I guess should say commented on my pitch, let me know that although their publisher does not accept unagented manuscripts, that once I get an agent, they would love to see my pitch and my manuscript come across their desk, which was really cool. That particular editor, the publisher, did take unagented manuscripts as well. So I sent in my query package, which I believe was 1 or 3 chapters, and then like my normal query that had the information about, kind of a brief summary of what my book was about, the word count, the genre, any comp titles that would go with that, as well as like a little bit about me as an author. So I sent all that in early August, along with sending that to agents that liked my pitch as well. I want to say by late August, I heard back from the editor. They really liked what they read so far and they wanted the full. So at that point, I was super excited. I was also super nervous because I was also on vacation. So being a self-published author, I got used to things moving so much faster, mostly because I'm kind of the end all and be all when it comes to things. So like I have to reach out to the editor, and I have to reach out to the cover designer, and I have to reach out to beta readers, and I have to reach out to ARC readers. And so I got so used to like always doing things that it seemed very hectic because I had to plan everything. And I still have to plan things, but some of that stuff I don't have to do anymore, which is great. And so, yeah, I freaked out a little bit because I was so used to things moving so quickly. But thankfully, I have a really awesome support system. I have some really, really great friends who are authors, and they, just kind of helped ground me and let me know like, hey, publishing normally runs slow, so you don't have to freak out that you're not available 24/7 or like right then. So I sent back an email and said, I'm so excited to get my manuscript into the editor's hands, and I'll do that as soon as I come back from vacation. I believe it was Labor Day. And so they were like, oh, totally fine. Looking forward to it. Have a great vacation. Well, I got back from vacation and I work a day job. I'm not a full-time author yet. And so I'm not going to talk about what my job is. However, we do have moments when things are super slow, which means I have a lot of time to complete like sort of everyday background tasks that I always have to do. But then there are other times when things are so busy that I have like no time. I'm working from when I start at 8:15 until when I finish at 5. And I've probably eaten lunch at my desk again while I'm still typing and doing other things. And so just so happens that that week was a really busy week. So I think I ended up sending my manuscript in maybe a week after I said I would, but they were great. They were like, perfect, cool, hope you had a great vacation, can't wait to read. So while the editor had my manuscript and I was waiting, I decided to participate in Pit Black and got a few more agent and editor likes and comments, which was great. So I sent more out, and I believe it was maybe a week after that, or maybe a couple of days. I feel like everything like blurred together. But I heard back from the editor, and they said they loved the book and they really were wanting to get on the phone and talk about it. At which point I freaked out again. I had to rely on my support system, and they were like, hey, this is awesome. Enjoy it, but also let's prepare. So originally I had conceived of the book being a 3-book series, but of course book 1 was done. I only had like vague ideas about books 2 and books 3. And so I think it was maybe a night before the phone call, because it was like, I got the email and we were going to have a phone call, I think like 2 days later. And so the night before the phone call, I sat on Zoom with my friends, and they were like, all right, you can't get off the Zoom call until you have, written a synopsis for book 2 and book 3. Because you need to go into this prepared, and then like show us your list of questions that you're going to ask, because, you know, as much as the phone call is about the editor getting an idea of like your book and where you want to go with it and with the series, it's also for you to kind of get an idea of whether or not you want to work with that editor. And so we did. I think we were on Zoom until maybe midnight, might have been 1 o'clock. And by the time I left our Zoom call, I had book 2 and book 3 with some character profiles and the synopses ready to go. So had the phone call, I believe it was like early afternoon, maybe. It was a great phone call. I feel like they got my book, they got the direction I wanted to go with the book, they kind of got the nuance, because it is a small town in Georgia. And so like I really wanted someone to kind of understand the feel of it, but it's also a progressive small town. So it's, you know, it's a little of like, if I could, you know, choose things all over again, where would I want to live? You know, if I could create a town, what would I want that town to be like? But the phone call was amazing. And then by the time the end of the phone call came up, I still was just like in shock. So I was like, wait, is this an offer phone? Like, are you offering? And they were like, oh yeah, no, totally. This is an offer phone call. Did I not say that? And so once again, I was like, this is great, because we're both a little awkward, and it was amazing that we both were kind of on the same page with that. And so I was like, perfect. I can't say yes or no yet, because I still am, you know, hoping for agent representation, because I have a lot of books I want to write, and I do want to go full speed on traditional publishing. And they said, totally fine. You know, we did 2 weeks, which I think, from what people are telling me and like what I've kind of found out and researched now, is pretty standard, to give people 2 weeks to kind of read and consider and decide if they want to work with you. And so, yeah, did that. They sent along I guess like a sample contract kind of thing. I didn't sign anything, of course, but I did make sure as soon as that phone call was over to let the agents who had either my initial query, or I think I had one agent who requested a full at that point. I let them know, like, hey, I have a publisher who's interested. I want to get back to them within 2 weeks. You know, please let me know if you want the full. And right away, I had a few agents who were like, can't, but like, good luck and thank you. And then I also had two other agents who were like, oh yeah, I want the full, please send it to me. I did have, I think, another 1 or 2 agents who got back to me like really like sort of at the end of the deadline, when things kind of had already been decided. And at that point I was like, well, I'm kind of really courting, you know, these other 3 agents, but, you know, thank you so much. And they were like wonderful about it. But yes, after that, I had 3 agent phone calls before deciding on my current agent, who is awesome and once again vibe really well. I'm super stoked about the people that I have around me. And so once I signed with my agent and the agency and all the paperwork was, you know, signed and dated and done and ready to go, I sent an email back to the editor, CCing my agent as like an introduction of like, here's who's representing me, you know, let's do some next steps. So we did. We had we had a video chat once again. And once again, it was a great conversation. You know, they sent over the publishing contract to my agent. And she also like sent it to me and, you know, let me look over it and was just like, hey, is there anything in here that, you know, you don't really like or you want to strike? And I think there was like one section that I was just like, is this what this means? Because if so, I don't like it. And she was like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm reading too, and I don't like it either. So let's see if we can get it, you know, struck from it. And we did. It was great. So yeah, once we were happy with the contract, once we were happy with the advance and everything else, we signed the paperwork, and I officially have a 3-book deal coming out with Harlequin, specifically Afterglow Books, which if you follow Harlequin, you probably saw in July that they kind of launched it. And the first books that are coming out with this new imprint are coming out in January of 2024. My first book with them is coming out in May 2024, which is super duper exciting. I'm already coining it Sapphic Summer because it is going to be a Sapphic contemporary romance, which I am super excited about. And yeah, I'm super stoked. Like I said, everything happened within, I think, like 2 or 3 months. I did the first pitch event in August, and October 20th, which was my 37th birthday, I announced that I had a 3-book deal with Harlequin. And so yeah, it's a little, I guess it's a little out of the norm perhaps for how everything happened, because I didn't do a long round of like cold querying, and then I have yet to go on submission just yet, but stay tuned. But yeah, it was kind of like the perfect summer. It was the perfect end to kind of a perfect summer, and I'm like super excited. Book 1 is done and we're in like finishing edits, and I'm waiting to see some concepts for the cover, which I'm stoked about. But yeah, you know, book 2 is written. Book 3 I'm working on the proposal for, so that we can get started writing that. And so yeah, if you like this video and you want to hear a little bit more about self-publishing as well as the traditional publishing process, and by way of kind of my journey of like diving right into it, stick around, like, subscribe, leave comments. I would love to hear if any of you have queried and like gone on submission, and what your journey has been with publishing too, because I feel like everyone, even though there's some similarities, like everyone's journey is a little bit different. So I hope to see you next time, and look out for my next video, probably a writing vlog, because I have a lot of writing I need to do.